From all four of us, pranams to you, Swamiji. We are so humbled and so grateful to have this opportunity with you today and seek your guidance on questions that are top of mind for our global audience. Thank you in advance, as always, Swamiji, for showering us with your wisdom. With that, Swamiji, let's dive into our questions. The first question, Swamiji, comes from the land of understanding ambition. We have many young professionals on the line today, and many of us have been conditioned from a very young age to be ambitious and strive for material success. As such, we have an increased pull from the attraction of worldly objects. Swamiji, our question for you is, how do we manage this drive for success as we progress through our own spiritual quest?
Hari Om Tas Jaya Guru. Very good. You have used a typical word called ambition in your question. You know what instantly flashes into my mind? Shakespeare's Julius Caesar was a textbook which was prescribed for our study. In the whole of the drama that Shakespeare had written, there are 4 lines which I remember. Particularly, I remember one line where ambition is referred to. Brutus tells, after having slain Julius Caesar, he says, there are tears for his love. Mark my words. There are tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his bravery, but death for his ambition. I will say again, there are tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his bravery, and death for his ambition. You know, years have passed, decades have passed. I still remember these: death for his ambition, these 4 words. My dear youth, ambition is not the way for our life. Ambition of any kind has a disastrous effect. You can strive for excellence, strive for your performance, do it very well. In our language, in our culture, there is a beautiful phrase, Ati Sarvatra Varjyate. An excess is avoided every time. Anywhere, excess is wrong. They even say, in excess measure, even nectar will cause indigestion. So this is something that all of you should know. What does Gita say? It does not say anything in excess should be done. Moderation is the watchword for every one of you. Any official, any commercial executive, chairman or managing director, general manager, financial officer, financial advisor, all of them will say, be moderate, moderate. The word yoga and yukta in Bhagavad Gita repeatedly says, moderation is the way. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukhaha. Krishna tells Arjuna, the yoga that I am explaining to you, my dear Arjuna, will become relevant and effective provided you are moderate. Eat moderately, sleep moderately, exert moderately, listen to moderately, speak moderately. Everything should be in moderation. Then you will find the quality of evenness, equalness, equipoise will be established and it will become your culture. It will become your culture. If you want to achieve anything in any field of life, the achievement is not done by the body. Actions are designed in the mind. And the mind alone executes the action, implements the action, but making use of the body and the senses. So in our personality, in the human, mind is the fulcrum for everything. Have your emphasis on the mind. Between the body and the mind, which is superior to what? It is the mind that animates and activates the body. The entire body is consisting of matter. Matter. Senses also are material. As such, they are inert. They are insentient. They cannot generate an experience or even move. Every time the body and senses are activated, animated by the mind. So the mind is the focus. So if you want to perform well, the focus should be on your mind. Let the mind be flexible. Acquire whatever skill and worth you want. Whatever skill and worth. These are days when people are hunting for good performers. If you have the necessary skill and the necessary worth, the world will demand you, warrant you, and take you away. Skill is not an epithet of the body. It is not a derivative of the senses. Skill belongs to the mind, to the intelligence. You know that knowledge belongs to the intelligence. You have the will and the wish to perform. They belong to the mind. Everything in the human world is mento-intellectual. Your merits are mento-intellectual. Your performance will be better when the mind is enriched and the intelligence is enlightened. So where should your emphasis be? It is the quality of a man, the qualitative enrichment of an individual that makes him perform very effectively, efficiently, and successfully. So cast aside the thought of ambition. You can have moderate, discreet expectations and all that, but never be ambitious at all. I have seen officials who have told me, Swamiji, in the whole of my life, I have never been thinking about my remuneration or promotion. Never have I thought about my remuneration or my reward. And the person had risen to very high level. The record of the world is very clear, my dear viewers. Anybody who has been able to raise his corporation to a higher level, he has always been a man of integrity. Integrity. Relate the word ambition to integrity. Dr. Sridharan, the famous metro man of India, he is a disciple of mine. Before the Delhi Metro Corporation, Delhi Metro was commissioned, I was giving lectures and he used to attend every day in the morning, evening also. So one day I told him, I would like to visit your DMRs, visit your Delhi Metro. He arranged, took me in his car. After we got into the car, I asked, Sridharan, tell me, you are performing something of a great magnitude. Can you tell me what are the qualities which enable you to perform in this manner? Completing the project before time and with even lesser cost. How is it? He said, Swamiji, I have only one word to tell you. Integrity. Are you hearing me, my dear youngsters particularly? I want you to go sky high. But ambition is not the way. You may have discrete aspiration. Plan your work and work your plan. This should be your motive. Sridharan was entrusted with the DMRC project. You know, it was the government has trusted him to the tune of 100,000 million rupees project. Rupees 100,000 million. And he was able to do so only because of his integrity. In many cases, he used to tell me, this is a promise DMRC has given to the nation and we cannot afford to fail. A promise DMRC has given to the nation, he says. Can you imagine? So I want you to understand this. Let the mind expand. When the mind is organized and it is qualitatively enriched, your physical and objective performance will automatically be elevated. You don't have to have ambition at all. Good performance proceeds from a good mind. The excellence and the efficiency belong to the mind, not to the body. You are able to perform excellentiality. That should be your objective. And which becomes excellent? The mind becomes excellent, the intelligence becomes excellent, so that it is able to apply the necessary will, wish, coordination, etc. So ambition is not part of a good and effective performantial life. Is the idea clear?
Absolutely, Swamiji. Thank you.
Swamiji, on that aspect, you had talked about the will and wish to perform. When we do wish to perform, as Arjuna was on the battlefield, the greatest warrior of his time, but he had to deal with crippling self-doubt, what we may call today as imposter syndrome. How do we know whether the doubts we have are legitimate areas of growth or us succumbing to fear?
You are giving me a new word, imposter syndrome. Our youth, they are very clever in picking up all these propositions and creating confusion. Confusion words confounded. See, what you call professional life and professional pursuit is not at all different from normal interactions. Professional pursuit also is an interaction. Our interactions are in the domestic front, in the professional front, and in the societal front. Wherever you are, the interactions are always between the inner personality and the surroundings. I always say persons, places, and events. So in the interaction, where should be your focus? They are designed by the mind, implemented by the mind, employing the body and the senses. So I want you to understand very clearly that the interactions proceed from the mind. They subsist on the mind. They also terminate in the mind. So what should be the focus for all interactions, including professional pursuit? You have quoted Arjuna. Yes, I agree. Arjuna came to the battlefield with 13 years of preparation. And he was buoyant with enthusiasm. And he wanted to fight and win and add to his laurels, as I said earlier. Then what happened? Suddenly he crumbled. Did he crumble for physical reasons? Or he crumbled because of his mind and the intelligence? He was not able to envisage what this Mahabharata war would be. He would have to fight with his own grandfather and the teacher. A number of kith and kin would also have been there. So he did not take the trouble of equipping and enriching himself to fight the Mahabharata war. A mere skill of weapons, archery, that was not sufficient. He must have a psycho-intellectual enrichment, empowerment, and resources to fight. When Arjuna crumbled, Krishna treated the mind of Arjuna and set it right. He aspirated all his trouble, filled it with clarity, insight, enthusiasm. Then he was able to perform the same war standing in the same chariot on which he sat helplessly and enfeebled. Our mind consists of 3 strands. Understand it very well. I am talking to you Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is our subject, Global Bhagavad Gita Convention. This is the 5th convention that we are holding. So I want to take you and get into the sea of Bhagavad Gita. It's not enough if you stand on the shore. Let us get in. And if necessary, have a bath there, a beautiful sea bath. So, the mind is a rope made out of 3 strands. The strands are called attraction, repulsion, and fear. Anybody who has a mind will have attraction, repulsion, and fear. You have to identify them properly, assess them properly, and sublimate them. Sublimate them. Sublimate them. When attraction, repulsion, and fear are sublimated, automatically you will have a greatly, immensely more resourceful inner personality. Every act of yours should not be to increase attraction, repulsion, and fear. On the other hand, to sublimate them, sublimate them. Suppose you get angry. Every time you get angry, you must have a greater degree of sublimation. It all depends upon your attitude and vision. From today onwards, all of you decide. All our interactions will be externally interaction, but internally sublimation and enrichment of my mind. I put it this way, every day of your life should mean greater enrichment for your mind and intelligence. Externally, you may have plus and minus. It doesn't matter to me. Mentally, you must be very resourceful, and it is possible. We have doubt. Doubt is not anything new. Arjuna also had doubt and grief. What did Krishna do? Krishna made him introspect over the grief and doubt. When Arjuna started introspecting, automatically the doubt vanishes. Mind creates the problem. Solution lies with the intelligence. So unless the intelligence and the mind are able to have a good interaction, as a result of which the mind gets constantly enriched from the intelligence, there will be no trouble at all. You should make it a practice to nourish your body. That you already do. Take also exercises. In the same manner, you must be able to nourish your mind and intelligence. So, study of Gita is very important. Introspecting over the messages. There are 3 kinds of people I thought of telling you. Prarabhyate na khalu vignabhayena mandaihi. Prarabhya vigna vikhataha viramanti madhyaha. Vignai punah punarapi pradihanyamanaha. Prarabdham uttama janana parityajanti. There are 3 categories of people. The most popular category is one. Before doing something, attempting to do something, they will think, oh, it is so difficult, so much of obstruction, hindrance, and they will not start. The second category will start with a lot of enthusiasm. When they are beset with difficulties, they will withdraw. There is a third category, the rare one. Vignaihi punah punarapi pradihanyamana. Even when they are repeatedly assailed by obstacles, they will not leave what they have taken up. Now, I want my viewers to answer me. Do you want to belong to the first, second, or which category do you want to belong to? And think accordingly. Enrich and equip your mind and also intelligence. You may have doubts. You may have syndromes. All these are mind-born. And they have a solution from the intelligence, from knowledge, particularly Gita knowledge. 3 boys went to a hill enthusiastically. They saw the hill. It is reasonably tall. They decided we shall climb up. But not all the 3. When it came to a question of climbing up, with our small feet, such a huge hill, how can we climb? So one did not attempt. The 2 attempted. They started climbing. After some time, the second boy, I am not able to climb. I feel tired. He came down. The third boy put all his energy, drive and enthusiasm and hopefully thinking about the height. That is the place where I have to reach. So he started climbing. And there came a time, every time he was placing his feet, what happened? The hill was reducing in height. The peak was nearer and nearer him. He felt so much enthusiasm and drive that he climbed faster and faster and ultimately stood on top. Pa, the hill is below me and I am above it. This is how you have to develop your own enthusiasm, fervor and resolve. I think this is ample enough for you to think. Uddhared Atmanatmanam, the Malaysia students were saying. They were inspired by this slogan. Elevate yourself by your own intrinsic power, power of thinking, power of understanding, power of feeling. This organization who has arranged this is Center for Inner Resources Development. Inner resources, not external resources contained on the earth, in the earth, air and sunlight, water. No, inner resources. Your mind is greater than the world. Otherwise, it cannot reflect the world. It reflects the sun, it reflects the earth, it reflects the sea, it reflects the sky and stars. What is the measure, dimension and magnitude of your mind? And what are you speaking about this syndrome and a doubt? Everything will be dispelled, dissolved, and you in your subject will grow tremendously. The body will not grow. It can maximum become 7 feet, that's all. It's all. Or 7.5 you put. But our mind can grow till the last breath of your life. So Gita tells you, be a subjective person. Be a person with immense resourcefulness. Allow the mind. Sky is the level of expansion. The sky is the limit. So grow sky high.
Swamiji, you spoke about focusing on our inner resources and nourishing them to cultivate a sense of evenness and moderation and balance. I was thinking it's easy to remember and act upon the teachings of Gita when one is cool, calm, and collected. However, when one is dealing with anger, anxiety, frustration, depression, and or grief, most of us forget to do so. We forget all the lessons that we have learned. In moments where these emotions overwhelm us, how do we remember and use the lessons of Gita to overcome that state of mind? What are some practical tips and guidance that you can provide us?
Why practical? The whole Bhagavad Gita is laid before you. Why don't you read it? Make it a practice of reading Bhagavad Gita. Think about one verse a day. And the mere time spending in reading, it will mean subjective enrichment. See, when you listen to me, it is not merely listening, it is absorption. When something is absorbed and assimilated, what results is enrichment. When food is assimilated, it becomes blood and energy. Similarly, when knowledge is assimilated, it becomes what? It becomes an inner treasure from which you can get everything. I would like you to think a little basically. We are all born as a child from the mother's womb. The mother starts feeding us, giving us nourishment. The body continues to grow up to what? Maximum 21 years. Then our growth is self-arrested. Thereafter, from next moment onwards, the body is declining. That is the time we become an adult, ready to make our choices, make our own goals, values and whatnot. At that time, the body has completed its growth. Tell me, using your intelligence, what in your personality is supposed to grow next if the body has completed its growth and is declining? The only answer is the inner personality, consisting of mind, intelligence and ego. Keep the ego away, mind and intelligence. Now I am asking you, the youth of the entire world, between the mind, the inner personality on the one hand, and the external gross body and senses on the other, tell me, if there is a comparison possible, which is superior to which? Obviously, the answer is mind and intelligence are superior to the body. If that is so, in paying attention to your personality, can you be blinded? You look after the body, and in doing so, how many hours you spend a day? Minimum 2.5 or 3 hours. 3 or 4 times you have your food. 2 times you may have to bathe and wash your body. Then you have to answer the calls of nature. All these put together, I believe, 2.5 to 3 hours you spend to care the body. Now tell me, how much time do you spend to care your own mind and intelligence? But throughout the day, you are spending the mind, using the mind. For every action of the body, the mind has to be first active. So far as the mind and the intelligence are concerned, it is a spending exercise for us. It is not an earning exercise. If you have understood this disharmony and imbalance, from today onwards, I want all of you to spend some time with your own mind and intelligence. Sit with your mind, sit with your intelligence. It seems the Harvard University produced a literature saying that we are all wakeful and active for 1020 minutes a day. Out of these, spend at least 20 minutes in meditation. This is Harvard University's version, not Swami Bhoomananda's version. What I would like to tell you is, you should spend enough time every day to feed and nourish your mind and intelligence. How can you do it? By enriching your thoughts and emotions. By elevating your intelligence with greater and greater knowledge. The feed of intelligence is knowledge. The feed of the mind is emotion. So you must develop good emotions, love, sympathy, sacrifice, consideration, compassion, adjustment. All these are good and noble emotions. Fundamentally, they are love, sympathy, and sacrifice. Tell me how much of love you have, sympathy you have. Don't be encircled only by your family. As you are a member of the family is a member of a social segment, which is a member of the nation, which itself is a member of the globe. So as an individual, you are a global citizen, a national citizen. As a national, you are like so many other nationals. The air in you relates you to all the other people in the world. In the same manner, the mind relates you to the entire world, to entire humanity and other creatures. Why don't you bring about this expansion, nourish your own mind and nourish your own intelligence? Whenever you want to develop a quality, love that quality. Love. The time you spend on the quality, I would like to put it as 50 mind hours on a quality. Then the quality will become inseparable in you. This is called subjective personal enrichment. Subjective personal enrichment. Other than the body, you are the mind, you are the intelligence, you are the ego. Unless the mind is organized, the mind is strengthened, the mind is embellished, decorated, ornamented, you will not be able to have joy of life and achieve greater and greater success. I have a tall disciple in New Delhi. One day he wrote to me. He called me and said, Swamiji, I am not able to shine well. I lack in commitment. I lack in dedication. I lack in one-pointedness. What shall I do to develop these qualities? I had a hearty laugh and I said, Rajiv, listen to me. Which quality do you want to develop first? He said, commitment and dedication. Okay, don't answer me. Simply listen to me and do. After doing, you tell me. He said, oh yes. Go on saying commitment. I am committed. I want to be committed. I must have commitment. Let this thought be there in thousands and thousands of times. Similarly, dedication, dedication, dedication. I want to be dedicated. I am dedicated. If you can think of dedicated people, spend some time in their memory also. You know, after about a week, 10 days, 15 days, he said, Swamiji, I am becoming committed now. I have become dedicated now. It is not enough if you say, I want to be good, I want to be good, I want to be efficient. Your ears have heard it, maybe ears are efficient. You have to make your mind efficient. So the efficiency should dwell in the mind, dwell in the mind. Automatically, whatever it does will be efficient. When the mind becomes efficient, all performances become efficient. When the mind is peaceful, everywhere is peaceful. Everywhere is peaceful when the mind is peaceful. When the mind is contented, every time you become contented. So this is something. When I landed in the airport, this person was with me and also some customs officers. One of them, he said, Swamiji, I told this officer whatever I have done. He also started doing it. Every day he is catching hold of 2 cases at least customs. All the other officers do not get any cases. So his efficiency also has gone up, he said. So this is what I have to tell you. Any quality can be developed. It is the inner personality that requires to be qualitatively enriched, and enrich your inner personality. All performances will become exceedingly well, efficient and successful. Have a successful mind, have a resourceful mind, have an efficient and excellent mind.
Yes, Swamiji. Some people have faith in God, some others do not have. But both of them live. They accomplish their tasks. The former attributing this success to God, the others attributing to themselves. Swamiji, please can you explain what is the difference between them?
I am very happy that you have raised this question. In fact, I wanted people to raise this question. And they should understand, especially devotees and the youngsters of the world particularly. You know, what is God or who is God? God is a word coined by the human mind. In fact, all the words we are articulating, they are our own productions. Look into the dictionary. In the dictionary, you will find all the words are man-made words. And God also is a word. Dog also is a word. Just like we are able to explain what is a dog, we must be able to explain God also. Otherwise, the word should not have been put there. Is it not very shameful to say a word and we say and we don't know the meaning? So I will explain to you the whole process. Listen to me very well. One person says, I believe in God. Another person says, I do not believe in God. I believe in God. I do not believe in God. God is the last word in the sentence. I believe in. Then he says God. The other man says, I do not believe in God. So the second man has used 2 words more. Now, God is a subject of belief for one, and it is not a subject of belief for the other. The idea of God arises in the mind of man. So between the idea that arises and the mind that is the source that produces it, tell me which is more important and independent. Do you have to strain for an answer? God is an idea, the mind evolves. Similarly, no God is also an idea evolved by the same mind. So what is common in both is I and my belief. Both of them cannot negate the I factor. Only when I am there, I have belief in God. Only when I am there, I don't have the belief in God. So between these, what is the truth? The truth is I am. I am free to have a belief in God. I am equally free to have no belief in God also. Even if you believe in God, suppose you don't have other qualities. A person believes in God. Oh, my God will make me a house, get me a house. Will it ever come? So we have to understand that belief or no belief is a product of the human mind. So mind is the important point in everybody. With the belief in God, if you don't have the necessary qualities to design and strengthen your performance and achieve the outcome, there is no point in saying God. Suppose you have the strength and the skill to design and perform, you may or may not say God. Take a kettle of water, place it on your gas stove, light it. Do you have to say, water, please boil, please boil? Do you have to say, God, please be merciful, so that the water will boil? Do you have to say that? The water will boil, provided heat is supplied. So when you have the necessary quality and you make the necessary endeavor, no other factor is required. Suppose you believe in God and you are lazy and you are not careful, then the adverse results will always happen. So here is a beautiful subhashitam, a proverbial statement, which is very, very good. I used to go to schools and colleges and sometimes explain this. So they were very happy. Udyamam sahasam dhairyam buddhi shakti parakramaha shadede yatra vartande tatra devaha sahaya kritu. It means where there is dedicated effort, the spirit of adventure, then intelligence to discriminate between matters, then the power of performance and valor. Where these qualities are there, automatically God will come to your help. God will never come to help a lazy man, an indifferent man, a foolish man, a procrastinating man. It is the qualities of the mind and the intelligence that accomplish good performance. Qualities of the mind and the intelligence that accomplish good performance. Body and senses cannot work by themselves. It is the mind that employs the body and the senses. The intelligence directs the mind with wisdom and discrimination. So when there is a close harmony between the knowing intelligence and the willful mind and the external body and senses, good and effective actions proceed and they bring about the desired outcome. Otherwise not. It does not matter whether you believe in God or not believe in God at all. What is required is a conscientious striving. I can quote some Sanskrit verses to explain the proposition. You know, India is a great country. We have the treasure called knowledge, proverbial statements. They are called subhashitams. Beautifully thought out aphoristic statements. One statement is sufficient to transform your life. One is sufficient.
Can you please talk to us about the concept of dharma and how can I know what my dharma is?
The word dharma is a Sanskrit word. It does not have an English equivalent. It does not have. Generally, we translate it with the word righteousness. Whatever is right and proper, that is called dharma. But the actual meaning of the word dharma is deeper. Dharanat dharma ityahuhu dharmo dharayati prajaha. Whatever is the power that sustains your life in good and bad, in prosperity and adversity, in success and failure, that is called dharma. Arjuna crumbled in the war field. He was unable to stand. His body trembled. Gandiva slipped from his hand. His mind started whirling like cyclone whirlwinds. His intelligence also was advising him adversely. Everything went bad. Unable to stand, he sat. But Krishna revived him. By what? Only by the words of his mouth. And every word contained an idea. Idea is a unit or a measure of knowledge. So he was transfusing knowledge into the intelligence, which received it, and the mind also was transfused by the intelligence. So it is a beautiful process. It is for scientific minds to think about it properly. Now your question I would like to answer. Shruyatam dharma sarvasvam shrutva chaiva avadharyatam atmanah pratikulani paresham na samacharet. I am giving you an explanation which will be helping you as youth. The entire dharma can be condensed into one statement. Whatever you feel is harmful to you and you don't like, do not inflict it on another. Never try to harm or hurt anybody. Whatever is harmful to you and hurting to you, do not extend it or inflict it on another. This is the whole gamut of dharma. Another point that I want to emphasize is Ashtadasha Puraneshu Vyasasya Vajanadvayam Parobhagara Punyaya Papaya Parapidanam. Vyasadeva has written 18 mythological texts. All of them are dealing with the subject that you have raised. And in all the 18 Puranas running into thousands and lakhs of verses, he has only summarily to say this. What is that? Parobhagara Punyaya Papaya Parapidanam. Whenever you help and serve another person, it is punya, virtuous, holy, rewarding. Whenever you do any kind of a harm or disservice to another, including your own blood relations and matrimonial relations, it is papa sin. So try to be helpful to the others. Help and serve others whenever possible. Do not hurt or harm another. Live with sufficient sensory restraint and mental harmony. Our subject of discussion for the 5th convention is mental harmony. That is the greatest dharma. In the language of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sakta karmanya vidvamso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha saktaha chikirshuhu lokasangraham. In your life, your motto should be, I am a cog in the universal wheel. I am a denizen of the earth. And along with me, there are millions and millions of others. I am only one of them. Always think of Mother Earth, the globe. Think of the whole universe. And there is a rhythm and an order in the whole universe. Conform to it. So he says, as ordinary people are living with a lot of attachment, delusional clinging, in the same manner, the enlightened man also should live. But without clinging. Whatever the ordinary people are doing with a lot of clinging and delusion, in the same manner you also live and you also act externally. But internally you should have no clinging at all. At all. Again I am telling you another principle. After instructing Arjuna, the Sankhya Yoga, at the end of it he says, Sukha dukhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsisi. Arjuna, you are afraid of this war. You are feeling it will make you incur sin. But I shall tell you a way so that you will never be affected or overpowered by sin. Not one war, many you can do if you want. Here is the formula, and that is the dharma that you seek. in the language of Gita. Sukha dukkhe same krutva. Treat sukha and dukkha, happiness and unhappiness alike. Happiness is a condition of the mind. Unhappiness is its opposite condition. The world consists of all these pairs of opposites. You cannot have light alone. Darkness also will be there. You cannot have hunger alone. Appeasement also is there. You cannot have ingoing breath and outgoing breath, one of them alone. Both are complementary. The heart beats, takes rest. Everywhere it is pairs of opposites. So, develop an outlook by virtue of which you will evenize these. Do not prefer happiness and do not abhor unhappiness. Be equal towards gain and loss, victory and defeat. Arjuna, your object in this war should not be victory. Your object in this war should be to fight excellently. Victory is something to come or not to come later. But fight now excellently, harmoniously. Let the fear of defeat go away from your mind. Consider, if necessary, that you are already defeated. Even then, fight best. Our mind is capable of rising to this super dimension. Conventionally, we only know happiness and misery, happiness and misery, happiness and misery. Array, mind can transcend it, and you can have the super happiness by evenizing both. What is happiness? When unhappiness ends, it is called happiness. So happiness itself is zero unhappiness. So why not we treat them, understand them well, and then I am neither preferring happiness nor I am abhorring unhappiness. Happiness follows unhappiness, and happiness leads to unhappiness. So every happiness is in between two unhappinesses. Then can you like it? Why don't you transcend it? So if you can have this harmony of the mind towards all pairs of opposites, buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam. Your intelligence must become harmonized. When the harmonized intelligence is there, everything is all right. You don't look after, you don't yearn for virtue, and you are not afraid of vice. You don't look for heaven, and you are not fearful about hell. You are not enamored of success, so that you are afraid of defeat. Our mind rises to a level of transcendence from where you can do anything that you want. I will put it in a small formula. Do not do what you want. Do not do what you want, and then do what you like. Shall I repeat it? Do not do what you want, and then do what you like. This is the best dharma. You know what I have learned? I have learned to do what I dislike. And I have also equally learned not to do what I like. Is it clear to you? I can do what I don't like, and I can easily not do what I like. Suppose I like something and the people around me, they don't like. I easily make a concession. I will not do, I will do what they like. The other way around also. So I am super happy, super stable, and magnificently performing. Dharma can be defined in several ways, but I am giving you a Gita definition. Live as others are, but never have a complaint in your mind. Oh, I am affected. No, you should live unaffectedly, gloriously, happily, ecstatically, abundantly. We have got infinite resources within the body. interminable resources, inexhaustible resources. Tap them, my dear youth. Tap them. Make use of this Center for Inner Resources Development, NA, and Malaysia and other places. Understand that you have infinite resources within the body. Infinite. I call it inner spiritual splendor. This is the title under which we talk in Disha TV in Delhi. For more than 11 years we have been talking. I think we have run our time. Let us stop. Is it okay?
Thanks, Swamiji. When my associations began with the ashram in 2017, I genuinely never thought I'd come this far in 4 years and be on a platform with the three of you to thank Poojya Swamiji for an interactive session. Such is the strength of Swamiji's message and his ability to draw the attention of an engaged mind. As Swamiji repeatedly says, the message of the Gita is for every one of us to realize the I in each of us, and the more we care to understand it, the more we develop our ability to handle interactions from a position of samatva. We now welcome Swamiji back again for his conclusions and his Omkara. Swamiji.
Hari, Hari. संवेद्यवर्जितमनुत्तममेकमाद्यं संवित्पदं विकलनं कलयन् हृद्येव तिष्ठ कलनारहितक्रियां तु कुर्वन् अकर्तृपदमेत्य शमोदितश्री. Hari, Hari, Hari. We shall have the conclusional Omkara. Take your pose for it as before. Join me. Hari Om Das. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru.